Hello, my name is Warren E. Freeman Jr. I'm here with episode 76. And, I'm attempting to crank out like 4 episodes today because I need to get them done before WrestleMania. So, if my videos seem forced, but if my videos seem rushed, that's probably why. Because I'm trying to shit out 4 episodes today. Alright, so, WrestleMania 18 is going to be the next show that I review. And I will put my Royal Rumble 2002 review in the description below because I'm doing this thing where I review the Royal Rumble and I review that year's WrestleMania. So far I've done WrestleMania 17, I reviewed Royal Rumble 2001. I just did WrestleMania 25 and I reviewed that year's Royal Rumble, which I did in the same video. And this one I'm going to do WrestleMania 18 by itself because I already have a review for Raw 2002, which will be posted in the description below. Okay, also, any music you hear, I do not own the rights to. Alright, so we kick off the show with William Regal defending the Intercontinental title against Rob Van Dam. This was Regal's second Intercontinental title match in a row. Last year, he fought Chris Jericho. He didn't walk in as a champion, he walked in as a challenger that year. This year he walked in as a champion, and he lost to RVD with a frog splash. Good opening match, great way. You know, I always say this in every video that I do, in every pay-per-view review that I do, I should say rather, that it's good to get a good face pop at the beginning of the night. So RVD beating William Regal was perfect because it popped the crowd. Yay, a face won. The crowd is happy. The crowd will continue to be happy with DDP versus Christian, which also got a 3. There's a little bit of a story behind this one. Christian was in a losing phase, and he would start throwing tantrums every time he lost. DDP helped him get over that. And in this phase that Christian was in, Christian would win the European title. This was all thanks to DDP. Once Christian won the European title, he got too big for his head, and he turned on DDP. And then they had a match at WrestleMania which DDP would win the European title, and then Christian would throw another temper tantrum after the match was over. So we got 2 title changes, RVD beating Regal, DDP when beating Christian. We got 2 title changes in the beginning of the show, and it popped the crowd. Good face pops. Then we go to Maven versus Goldust. I gave this a 2.7. This was I'm not gonna bother talking about all the title changes, but it was crazy. One thing that's notable about this match is Goldust had golden weapons. That was cool, I guess. Spike would win it. Then Al Snow would get involved backstage. Crash Holly would get involved. Molly Holly would win it. Hurricane would win it. Actually, Molly Holly beat Hurricane for the title. Christian hit Molly Holly with a door, and then he would win the hardcore title. And then Maven would roll him up. And this would happen throughout the show. This wasn't all in one segment. This was like throughout the show where all these title changes would happen. It would end with Maven rolling up Christian to escape with the hardcore title. So I just combined all of that into one and I gave it a 2.7. It was fun. It was funny seeing Molly Holly hit Hurricane in the head with a frying pan to win the title. And the announcers really, I don't want to say put Christian over, but put over that moment where Christian hit Molly with the door to win the title. And Christian had a nice little line, said, "Watch out, it's a new hardcore champion coming through." That was a nice little line Christian got in. Ludicrous. It was complete ludicrous, but I gave that a 2.7. Kurt Angle versus Kane. The only story that this match really had was that Kane did cost Kurt Angle the Undisputed title in a random match on Raw with Chris Jericho. But that was because Kurt Angle had basically concussed Kane with a ring bell, giving him severe head trauma, and that's all they talked about in this match was Kane's head trauma that he had suffered going into this match. I don't think Kurt Angle has had a bad match at WrestleMania. I don't think Kurt Angle has had a bad match at all in his career. And even with Kane, as big as he is, he managed to get a good match out of him. Kurt Angle would win. I gave that a 3.2. Now, we talk about Undertaker versus Ric Flair, which is probably my favorite match of the whole show. And it's probably my favorite build up of the whole show. Okay. So we go back to No Way Out 2002, and The Rock is wrestling The Undertaker. And just, I don't want to say a random match, but it was one of the main event matches for that show. A week prior to this, Taker had kicked Ric Flair in the face. Because Flair tried to assert his authority as co-owner, and Taker said, to hell with that shit, I'm going to kick you in the face. So we get to No Way Out, and Undertaker is about to win. He grabs a lead pipe from his motorcycle and is about to assault The Rock with this lead pipe. Flair comes out, gets the pipe away from The Undertaker, and Flair gets possession of the pipe, hits Taker in the head, then The Rock ends up winning the match. So Taker finds Flair in his locker room the next night and says, man, no, you was wrong, man, for hitting me in the head with that pipe last night. And I thought about taking your ass to the parking lot and beating you down, but no. I want you in the ring at WrestleMania. Flair says, nah, I ain't going to fight you at WrestleMania. I was just being a man last night, defending The Rock for some reason, but I was just being the man. I'm an owner. I'm not a wrestler. Despite just wrestling Vince McMahon at the Royal Rumble a month ago, but whatever. I ain't a wrestler no more. Taker says, all right, we will see. We will see what I can do to change your mind. So next week he beats up Arn Anderson. On SmackDown, Flair would attack Taker with a lead pipe, getting him back for the Anderson beatdown. So Taker's in the fetal position after getting the shit beat out of him by Flair with his lead pipe. And Flair says, as far as the challenge at WrestleMania, I'm still saying no. But if you ever attack Arn Anderson again, or one of my family or friends, I will show you why they call me the dirtiest player in the game. So Flair still denies Taker's challenge. So then the next night on Raw, and this is the best part of this whole story to me, Taker comes out, and it's announced beforehand that Flair's not there because Flair had a family emergency. So Taker comes out, and he shows this video of Undertaker beating the shit out of David Flair, and it is one of the most unintentionally funny things I think I have ever seen the WWE produce. That and Undertaker beating the shit out of Maven at the Royal Rumble, which I talked about in great detail in that video, which will be posted in the description below. Random phone call. Get out of here, bitch. Anyway, so Taker shows this video of Taker beating the dog shit out of David Flair at the in this not the performance center, but in a training facility of the WWE. Taker takes him in the bathroom. I mean, bloodies him up, put his head through a wall, or like the wall cracked, put him in a stall, punched him in a stall. It was hilarious. And the best part was David Flair was like, what are you doing? Taker's like, what am I doing? I'm kicking your ass. That's what I'm doing. Oh, it's awesome. And Taker's talking shit the whole time. Like, hey, ask your daddy. Ask your daddy why you getting your ass kicked right now. So he props David Flair up beside him in this bathroom stall, and he looks into the camera and he says, Rick, this is on your head. All you had to do was just accept my challenge. That's all you had to do. So this is on your head. And I ain't going to stop here. He looks at David Flair, looks at the camera. He looks at David Flair. He's like, David, don't you got a little brother? No. You got a little sister, don't you? And he looks at David, he looks at the camera, and he just gets this like weird smile on his face, like, I don't give a damn what I gotta do. I'm gonna do it to get your ass in the ring at WrestleMania. So Flair, the SmackDown following this, SmackDown starts off like this, right? Taker sitting in his locker room. He's watching himself beat up David Flair. He's like, damn, that boy can really take an ass kicking, can't he? Flair is banging on Taker's door. The door is locked. He can't get in. Flair says, to hell with this. I'm going to the ring. Flair goes to the ring. He accepts Undertaker's challenge. Then Taker comes out and says, you know what? I don't know if I should fight you at WrestleMania. Michael Cole flips out on commentary like this evil, sadistic Undertaker. Taker says, "I'm not sure if I want to fight you at WrestleMania. Like I did, but now you're taking the fun out of it. So I'll let you know later on in the night if I decide to face you at WrestleMania." So Taker ends up wrestling, I think Maven or Matt Hardy or somebody on SmackDown. I think it was Maven or Spike Dudley, somebody. He beats him in convincing fashion, and Taker says, "You know what? I've made up my mind. I will fight you at WrestleMania, but if you come out here and beg me for the match." Taker comes out and assaults the Undertaker, chases him all throughout the crowd. Taker would hit Ric Flair would go for a punch. Taker would move, and Flair would hit a fan, which is a plant. He might have been a plant, or he might have been a rookie wrestler or something. But Flair hits this fan. Flair goes to jail. Then the next Raw following. The reason why I'm talking about this at length is because it's my favorite match on this card. So I'm talking about the entire build-up. So on that Raw, following that SmackDown, there's a board meeting where the board of directors are trying to figure out what to do with Ric Flair. Basically, Flair stands by what he wants to do, which is he wants to wrestle The Undertaker at WrestleMania. So Linda McMahon says, "Are you going to go through with this, Rick?" Rick says yes. Then Linda McMahon says, "Well, we have no choice but to temporarily suspend you and give Vince McMahon complete authority until after WrestleMania." So Vince, temporarily having full control, says, "I'm going to take my power and make your match at WrestleMania a no disqualification match," which is perfect, given everything that Flair and Undertaker have been through up to that point. So on that go-home SmackDown, that was the go-home Raw where they had the board meeting. On the go-home SmackDown, Undertaker actually wrestled David Flair, which didn't really have an ending because Flair interfered, and then that's how that ended. So then we get to WrestleMania, and man, we get a hell of a match with Taker and Ric Flair. I mean, it's not really much to say. I mean, it's more to talk about in the build to WrestleMania than the actual match itself. Taker just beats the shit out of Flair. Flair gets a couple hope spots in. He gets a lead pipe. He gets the figure four, which is a good visual because you see Flair bleeding. You see Taker's got this little gash on his face. And what's funny is the commentary because JR is flipping out about how much Flair is bleeding. And King's like, "Well, Taker's got a little nasty gash on his face, but I don't see you talking about The Undertaker. You're talking about Ric Flair." So they're arguing. That adds to the tension of the match. Arn Anderson comes out and gives Undertaker a spine buster. That's cool. Then Taker bloodies him with a couple punches. And then Taker sets up for the last ride. And Flair is so exhausted that he can't even... He basically dead weights. The Undertaker with this last ride because Flair is so damn exhausted after everything he's been through. So Taker aborts the last ride and hits it with the tombstone, or as JR would say, "With the damn tombstone, the damn tombstone." Taker wins at the tombstone, 1, 2, 3, and then Taker stands on the apron, leans back on the rope, and does this. 10. He's basically 10-0 at WrestleMania. And this is just my personal favorite match of the show. Taker and Flair. Alright, so I gave that a 3.5. And I admit I gave it a little bit higher because it's my favorite match. Then we go to Edge versus Booker T. They fought over a fake shampoo commercial. That was it. A shampoo commercial. There was a sign and the audience said they're fighting over shampoo. That was it. It was a Japanese shampoo at that. And lately I've been talking about these matches they've been having on Raw and SmackDown where it's just participants in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and the Women's Battle Royal. And that's the only significance they have. With this match... Hell, those matches that are happening recently have more significance than this. They're fighting over a shampoo commercial. Edge won. He did a spin-a-rooney and then he won, as if it mattered. I could have done without that match. I gave that match a 2.8 simply because you had good workers in it. That was it. Stone Cold versus Scott Hall. This borderlines on the matches that, not saying that I could have done without, because WrestleMania wouldn't be WrestleMania at this point without Stone Cold. But this match also served no purpose. I gave it a 3.1, only because of the stunner that Scott Hall took. Like, Scott Hall jumped 10 feet in the air for this stunner that he took, and that was basically it. Austin won with the stunner. That was a 3.1. Then we had a Four Corners elimination match, or a Four Corners tag match. It was Billy and Chuck, the tag champions, defended against the APA, the Hardys, and the Dudleys. The Dudleys had a kick-ass entrance with Saliva playing their theme to the ring. Billy and Chuck won. I talked about being spoiled with the tables, ladders, and chairs matches, and why the ladder matches of today seem kind of tame. And this is just another example of that, because we were spoiled with all these ladder matches, and then we just get a regular-ass Fatal 4-Way elimination match at WrestleMania. So Billy and Chuck retain the titles. Then we go to Rock versus Hogan. I gave that a 4. I gave the tag title match a 3. Rock and Hogan was by no means a wrestling classic. It was by no means a technical masterpiece. But the reason why this match was great, and the reason why I scored it so high, was because the energy, really the fans made that match good. And the fans, let me tell you something, the fans are powerful. They can make you or they can break you. They can make and break a character, they can make or break a debut, and they can make or break a moment, they can make or break a wrestler, they can make or break a match. And the fans were just on fire for this match. The fans were so powerful that they made Rock and Hogan switch the match around on the fly, because originally it was supposed to be babyface Rock versus heel Hogan, and Hogan had done all these dastardly things to the Rock, driving a semi-truck into the Rock while the Rock was in the ambulance, hitting him in the back of the head with a hammer, spray painting NWO on his back. I didn't really explain how the NWO got here in the first place, which I'll do that very briefly. Vince McMahon lost to Ric Flair at the Royal Rumble 2002, which I talked about in the Royal Rumble review. Vince McMahon went crazy and wanted to destroy his own company and brought in the NWO. So they brought back the original NWO with Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Hogan. That's why you had, and the NWO's first targets were Austin and The Rock, which is why you had Scott Hall versus Austin. Then you had Rock versus Hogan. But yeah, the original plan for that was heel Hogan versus babyface Rock, but the fans were cheering Hogan and were booing The Rock, so they switched the match on the fly, where they had The Rock act heelish, like he would spear Hogan, punch him in the face, and then do that to the fans. It showed The Rock getting angry at Hogan and at the fans for turning on him the way they did. It was so big that they used that as a catalyst for the Hollywood Rock persona that he would take on the following year. Hogan would kick out of the leg drop. That hadn't been done since WrestleMania 8, when Psycho Sid kicked out. Although they had to do that because Papa Shango botched his running. But anyway, at that point, the announcers probably would have had you believe that no one's ever kicked out of the Hogan leg drop. And Rock kicked out. Rock kicked out of a rock bottom, and Hogan would get up, and he would hulk up, and Rock would punch him. He would no-sell. Rock would punch him, and Hogan would no-sell. Rock would punch him, and he would block it, and he would say, "You, boom, boom, boom." Leg drop. Rock kicked out. I already talked about that. Then the Rock would hit the rock bottom on Hogan, and then he would do the people's elbow on Hogan, and Hogan wouldn't kick out. And Lawler made it a point to emphasize the fact that The Rock is doing the people's elbow on Hulk Hogan. And it was as if Mike Tyson hitting the uppercut on Ali. The comparisons were made in this match, and the announcers did a good job of putting it over. The fans put it over. Hogan and Rock are charismatic as fuck. That put it over. This match, I'm exhausted just talking about it. I'm getting excited just talking about it because of how good this match was. The fans were exhausted after this. to further cement Hogan's face turn, the NWO, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall would turn on Hogan. And then Rock and Hogan would clear the ring of those two. And then they would pose. It was awesome. The bad part of this was the fans were exhausted because then we had to sit through Jazz, Trish Stratus, and Lita for the women's title, which I gave a 2.5 to, which the match itself wasn't bad, but the fans were just exhausted. They just didn't care. So Jazz won, which if you really wanted to pop the crowd, again, why wouldn't you have Trish Stratus win here? It only makes sense. You're in Toronto. You're in Trish's hometown. You have Trish come out dressed as a Maple Leaf. Why not put Trish over? That way you keep your crowd alive going into your main event, which is Triple H and Jericho. But they didn't. Jazz won. So we go to Triple H and Jericho, and again, add on to the fact that you have to follow Rock Hogan. Add on to the fact that Jericho is basically a weak champion. Add on to the fact that this match is not even about the Undisputed Championship. It's more or less about Triple H and Stephanie's divorce. You get a decent main event, but you get the inevitable payoff of Triple H winning the title because he won the Royal Rumble after coming back from a quad injury. He would divorce Stephanie in the build-up to that, lose to Kurt Angle at No Way Out, losing his WrestleMania opportunity. Then Kurt Angle would lose that match, or Kurt Angle would lose his WrestleMania opportunity that he won back to Triple H on Raw the next night. And then, like I said, the storyline is basically Triple H and Stephanie divorcing, and Jericho is the champion. And Jericho, the championship is in the background, and you have up front and center Triple H and Stephanie. And that's why the match was a 3. That's why I rated it low. And I rated it low because the fans just were exhausted from Rock and Hogan. And that's why that match got a 3. It was a lot of good storytelling in the match itself. Like, they played off of Triple H's quad injury and how healthy it was. And basically, the only other payoff that you got in that match was Stephanie getting pedigreed. Because they teased it on Raw, and then they teased it on SmackDown, and both times Jericho saved her. But at WrestleMania, Jericho wasn't able to save her. Triple H got the pedigree. That led to a chair shot to Triple H, which the referee obviously didn't see. Jericho would go for the cover. Triple H kicks out at 1. Jericho would go for the walls of Jericho. That got countered. Triple H would go for a catapult. Jericho would springboard into the second rope, bounce back into the pedigree. 1, 2, 3. That's how the match would end. I gave it a 3. It was a solid main event, and maybe it could have main evented at WrestleMania had Rock and Hogan not been on the card. But it was what it was. It was a solid match. I gave it a 3. So going over my ratings again for WrestleMania 18. RVD and Regal got a 3. DDP and Christian got a 3. Maven and Goldust and the rest of the hardcore antics that night got a 2.7. Kurt Angle and Kane got a 3.2. Undertaker and Flair, my favorite match of the night, got a 3.5. Edge versus Booker T got a 2.8. Stone Cold and Scott Hall got a 3.1. The Four Corners Tag Team match got a 3. Rock and Hogan, the highest rated match of the card, got a 4. Jazz, Trish, and Lita got a 2.5. Triple H and Jericho got a 3. And the last 2 matches following Rock and Hogan suffered because they had to follow Rock and Hogan. Also, an interesting story before I wrap up this video about Triple H and Chris Jericho. There's a story that's told that Jericho asked Triple H what he made for his WrestleMania payday for that match. Triple H was kind of hesitant in telling him what he made. And when Jericho found out what Triple H made, it was way more than what Jericho made. Which is a fucking travesty because Jericho was the champion. And Triple H made more than Jericho did going into that match. So the story goes, Jericho went into Vince's office bitching about it. Vince smiled and then cut him a check. And that's the story there. That's very interesting. At least it was to me. Alright, so the average score for that is a 3.7. Oh, I'm sorry, 3.1. And there we go. Oh, I'm sorry, 3.01. So I just gave it a 3. And there we go. That's WrestleMania 18. Kind of fell short of WrestleMania 17 a little bit. You had a couple matches that were just there, as opposed to WrestleMania 17, where every match had a purpose, except maybe the Gimmick Battle Royal. But WrestleMania 18 kind of fell below par. WrestleMania 19 would be much better, which I've reviewed as well. And that's my thoughts on WrestleMania 18. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and you guys have a wonderful day.